morning, everyone, and welcome to another Kano Tryharding Modern. So we're still iterating on Explore Tron today. I dropped a Thrag Tusk for an O-Stone. I dropped Spatial Contortion for a Dismember in the side. And for memeing purposes, and because someone has been asking me for months, I dropped an Ulamog for a Void Winnower, just this once to test. Now, I don't have any reason to suspect it's better, but it is a little bit of a meme, so I'm willing to try it. If you run this configuration, probably run 2 Ulamogs, but we'll find out. Maybe it's really good. And without any further yammering, let's go ahead and take this into a competitive Modern League. I'll see you guys when round 1 starts. Alrighty. Round 1, here we go. I would love to play first. I mean, we can get pretty deep looking for a second Tron land, but yeah, I'm gonna keep this. There's the chance that this is really good. I'm gonna start Urza's Mine Expedition map. That way we can get a second Tron land, or we can get the last Tron land if we draw it, and then just focus on finding a threat. Opponent starts Temple Garden into an Arbor Elf, so we're almost certainly against Heliod Company. Well, we found the power plant. Let's get the tower. Pass the turn. Greed rewarded. So we can go about 7 cards deep looking for a threat. Alright, looks like my opponent is leaving up Collected Company. So start tower. Play star. Crack star for green. We currently have 5 mana left. Ancient Stirrings now. Get Ugin. Rest of the bottom, any order. Play star with our floating mana. Crack star. We draw Sanctum. Play star. Crack star. We get Karn. Okay. So basically, as long as our opponent doesn't combo kill us next turn, like if they don't have exactly Collected Company into Heliod, untap land, okay, and they don't. As I say, untap land, Walking Ballista, activate Heliod. That'd be the only way we die immediately. Ulamog answers their entire board. So they have to have a way to either take us off of Tron or take Ugin out of our hand. But I don't think this deck generally plays a way to do either of those things. I mean, they could play like a random field or a Ghost Quarter, because they are only a 2-color mana base. It's not that unlikely, but I've not seen it yet. Anytime that I've played this deck, yeah. Cool. So they can't beat Ugin. At least not in the main deck configuration. So I am going to bring in Dismember. I do want Dismember here. Wilt, Nature's Claim is like kind of reasonable, but I think for that Dismember, I'm going to cut Wormcoil Engine. I still want to have 1 Thrag Tusk, because I like gaining life immediately. Alright, it's a slow assembly of Tron, but it is a hand that assembles Tron. I'm going to try keeping it. Opponent's hand was pretty fast, but inconsistent, with Collected Company not guaranteeing they get the cards they need, just really, really immensely helping. Besides, this way we can see what sideboard tech they've brought in for us. And it's probably like a Damping Sphere. Okay. Opponent starts Wooded Foothills, fetching up a Stomping Ground. Interesting. So this is 3-color Heliod combo. So start Urza's Mine, Chromatic Star, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Plains. 3 mana for Heliod. Okay. We untap and draw Karn. Crack star for green. We draw Expedition map. Play Urza's Mine. Tutor up a Urza's Power Plant. Pass the turn. So on turn 4, we're going to have 9 mana. If we haven't died by then, Karn Great Creator can protect us from Walking Ballista. Okay, opponent plays a Conclave Mentor. Hits us for 1. We untap and draw Expedition map. So, play Power Plant. Play Star. Crack Star for green. Sylvan Scrying, get a tower. So, if my opponent has Walking Ballista X1, and they can activate Heliod and go infinite. Yep. Okay. Conclave Mentor lets it enter with 2 power, so we were turned too slow there. Yeah, no adjustments. Let's run it back. We'll try and get a hand that does something quickly. This does. Keep. So, start Urza's Mine, play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. This is a turn 3 Karn, whichever Karn we choose. Opponent starts Temple Garden tapped, that's good news for us. Play Tower. Get Power Plant. Pass the turn. If my opponent doesn't play a 2-drop, I don't know what their hand would be at that point, but if they don't play a 2-drop, I'm getting Trinisphere. Okay. We get an Ulamog. Play Karn, Great Creator. Wish. Get Trinisphere. Play Trinisphere. Pass the turn. Because that means that they're going to be playing slow enough that our Karn Liberateds are just going to sweep the board. Like, opponent can play 1 spell here. If it's Cleansing Wildfire, that's pretty good, but... Magus of the Moon. Okay. Draw an Ugin. Can I wish for anything that helps here? Not really. I can animate, like, a sphere or a star or a map or something. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Chromatic Sphere, turn it into a creature, pass the turn. If I can draw another land, I can wish for Walking Ballista to take out Magus. Opponent collected company. Puts in a Conclave Mentor and a Spike Feeder. They attack Karn, so we jump. We draw a Forest. Play a Forest, though I don't think Walking Ballista is any good anymore. Can only play 1 spell, because we put Trinisphere down. I should have gone for the Liquid Metal Coating. I mean, I can get Ensnaring Bridge, but I still have 5 cards in hand, and Karn's just going to die. I can animate Trinisphere, which does give me a creature large enough to block. Could get Cage to protect from more collected companies, because it's one of the only spells they can actually cast. I think we get Ballista. Because playing Ballista X2 here, we can kill Magus of the Moon on their end step, untap, play Ugin, and that's just going to be the game. Unless they have a second Magus effect, or like a Krosan Grip. So my opponent attacks Karn. Karn's just going to die. Okay, it goes to their end step. I'm going to wait till our main phase to kill Magus. I don't really think that matters all that much, but... oh, they can move 1/1 counters over? I completely forgot that that card can do that. So that matters. Play a Power Plant. Play an Expedition Map. Crack Map. Get a Forest. Pass the turn. Well, if we can draw a... what do you call it? If we can draw an Explore into another land, we might be able to get up to enough lands quick enough. Okay. Play Karn. And at this point, I'm going to animate Trinisphere. If Karn stays alive, we can wish for Wormcoil because we sided one out. Which is the upside of siding out Wormcoil over siding out a Thragtusk. And honestly, right now, I don't care if Trinisphere dies. I understand that it's probably locking my opponent out of something, but if my opponent attacks, I am going to throw Trinisphere under the Magus. Because if I block Conclave Mentor, they have the option of killing Trinisphere or killing Karn. Okay. Block with Trinisphere. This makes a lot of our top decks better. I should have just gone for the Karn Liberated. I don't know why I was so blinded by Great Creator. But I was. Okay, we draw Dismember. So I can wish for Wormcoil, but then I can't cast Dismember. I can get Ensnaring Bridge. I can't kill Magus with Dismember because Spike Feeder exists. Maybe, I think I just get Worm Coil then. Okay, play Worm Coil. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a land. Right now it looks like they're just as much under Blood Moon as we are. Opponent goes to combat, attacks Karn. We will trade, because Karn being alive means we're not dying to the infinite combo. Our mana situation is not much improved because of the Damping Spheres. Opponent plays a Skyclave Apparition, killing Karn. And they won't be able to play anything else this turn. We untap, draw Chromatic Sphere, play the Sphere. I'm going to crack the Sphere for green. I don't think the extra damage from a Dismember is going to matter too much. Oh, can't actually play Karn, because Karn costs 6, because I was like, oh, Trinisphere, or not, Trinisphere Damping Sphere doesn't do that much. I was wrong. Alright, yeah, we are going to attack. We have a giant life-linking threat, there's no reason not to. My opponent would have to trade off their entire board if they wanted to kill it. We have a Dismember, which can hopefully interrupt whatever combo. Okay, opponent plays Heliod. Goes to combat. Attacks for 5. Yep. They're going to Pendelhaven the Spike Feeder, which I guess means they're not giving anything lifelink. So I'm going to Dismember the Skyclave Apparition. This gives me a 4/4 token. So opponent can gain infinite life. Not that that matters. Even though it's technically correct to do here, I hate this because it doesn't win the game. It's just a long delay tactic, which we have plenty of time to respond to. So, we untap, draw Sylvan Scrying. Yeah, okay. Sylvan Scrying. Oh, you know what? We have two spheres that doesn't work. I'll get a Blast Zone. Play Blast Zone. And, attack for 6. We go up to 23. I guess this is technically dangerous, because Heliod Conclave Mentor Spike Feeder is an infinitely big Spike Feeder. Maybe I needed to keep Worm Coil back. The odds that my opponent has one removal spell is pretty high. I just did not really consider that. Alright, well, gotta chump. Oh, they can put a whole bunch of counters on Conclave Mentor, can't they? They can put an infinite number of counters on Spike Feeder, and then they can move them all over to Conclave Mentor. So I'm actually just dead. Okay, well I failed to understand the situation because I've never actually seen it. I'm aware that my opponent's deck runs all these cards. I have never once run into this combo playing against this deck maybe 30 times. And it's something that I've not considered. So I actually made an enormous mistake with that Dismember. I don't think it matters too much. I think my opponent probably still had it. Yeah. So they have enough counters, they can just keep removing them. Doesn't matter if they remove all 25 or not. I needed to keep Worm Coil back. Alright. So I threw round 1. I'll see you guys in round 2. That was my bad. I learned something, though, because I've literally never seen that. So, alright, I'll play first. Like, in my mind, Conclave Mentor is, like, just to speed up the Walking Ballista kill. So we have 2 spheres and an Explorer. I think I have to mulligan to 5. Okay, 4. 3! Yep, alright, 3. So putting back a Forest, putting back Void Winnower, and putting back Karn. And putting back Sylvan Scrying. Play Tower Expedition map. Go. Not a good opening. I should have kept the redraws, but like in theory, our other hands could have been better. All right, the only deck I know that plays Dark Slick Shores is Mill or Ad Nauseam. So it's Mill. It's Mill, and we do not have a Gaia's Blessing. And we're about to search our deck. We're doing this earliest opportunity because this is the least chance for our opponent to have an Archive Trap. The longer the game goes on, the more chances they have. Oh man, if they Surgical Urza's Mine here, and just completely... Well, there goes the rest of our Urza's Mines. So the good news is, we won't draw an Urza's Mine. The bad news is, we still need to draw... yeah, if they have double Archive Trap, generally they're fast enough to just beat us. Okay, we get an Ancient Stirrings. Ancient Stirrings. Get Power Plant. Rest of the bottom. Players is mine. Pass the turn. Well, we will assemble Tron and Karn on turn 4, but I don't think that's going to matter. I knew I should have put that Kozilek in today. Alright. Now we draw Karn. Play Karn. Exile the Crab. Odds are they have removal. It's just... Or not removal, they have more mill, but... They eliminate their own crab so that they have better delirium. Okay. Well, there's some chance that maybe we can come out of this if my opponent just bricks and draws only lands now. I mean, they're not gonna, because they just played me Kokoro, but... And Mesmeric Orb. And an Engineered Explosives on 0. Sacking Explosives to enable Delirium. So we're milling 6 cards. Okay. We draw a Sanctum of Ugin. Do we even have any colorless creatures left to fetch? Nope. Okay, hang on. So we have to Karn, down tick on Manic Scribe, Karn, down tick on Mesmeric Orb. I mean, I could uptick on myself, and then maybe ult, because I'm not tapping any lands next turn. Yeah, we're going to go for the Karn restart. Exile Sanctum out of our hand. Pass the turn. Opponent mills a bunch of cards. And the reason that we down-ticked on Manic Scribe instead of Mesmeric Orb is because Mesmeric Orb, there's the chance that we can control. So my opponent is going to put Lurrus in their hand, I think. Oh, they're going to make us draw. Okay. Alright. If they draw a mill spell, it's game over. Like, we die to any mill spell. So considering they haven't played one yet, we're going to exile the card that's in their hand. And they're going to surgically extract Ugin. Yeah, sure. I don't think if that's one of the last cards in our deck, we're screwed. Alright, both were in the grave. Alright, and the question is whether or not my opponent can make us draw more than one card. Or if they draw any mill spell. We need them to top deck a land here. That's a land. We will not search our deck if we get fielded. Opponent makes us draw an Ancient Stirrings. Plays a Ruin Crab. Why didn't you just play the crab and activate field? Okay. 0 cards in deck. Restart the game. Oh, okay. So we get a chance to re-mulligan here. So hopefully we get better openers this time. I don't know what you guys were talking about. Literally never happened. Well, there's a Blast Zone and some Ancient Stirrings. This could help. We're not searching our deck with this hand, so I'm kind of tempted to keep it. Otherwise we go to 5. We do have a land already in play. I'm gonna keep this hand because this hand we can at least turn 1 Ancient Stirrings. And apparently we get to draw even though we're going first. That doesn't seem right to me, but what do I know? So start Sphere, crack for green, get a Karn. We'll take another star effect, because we're not hurting for lands right now. We just want Tron pieces, and I really don't want to search my deck if I can avoid it. I want to play Zobro into a Ruin Crab. So we untap, draw a tower. That's good, now we just gotta find mine. We just gotta find that mine. Play Chromatic Star. Crack it for green. Draw Sylvan Scrying. Do we risk the Sylvan Scrying? I think we have to, because if we can land Karn, it's just game over. But my opponent with my luck's gonna have like, oh, quadruple Archive Trap. Okay, Urza's mine. Pass the turn. Your move, opponent. Yep. Well, I mean, it was kind of likely to happen. Now, if they surgical Urza's mine, that would be a problem. 2 Archive Traps? That's not fair. You can't do that 2 games in a row. Don't. No! I knew it was a trap. It was screaming trap at me, and I couldn't resist. Ugh. Well, they left the Urza's Mine in our grave. They only exiled the 3 out of our deck. That's interesting. Man. Even when I had access to time travel, I still found a way to throw the game. Yep. Alright, well, this was just destined, I guess. There's a fixed point in time. I was unable to alter the fact that I was dying to mill. We'll play Blast Zone, kill the crabs. Really, I'm kind of just acting in defiance of my fate here. I don't think I can really undo what has been done. Yeah, that's game. Put a valiant effort in, though. Okay. Alright. We'll move to game 2. Putting in Veil of Summer. Nature's Claim, Wilt, and Dismember. Wormcoil coming out. Thragtusk coming out. Probably a Basic Forest, Void Winnower, and Ugin. I guess I don't want to over-sideboard because of the whole Surgical Extract problem. So in that case, I'm going to keep in a Thragtusk, and that way we have 5 threats. And I'm only going to bring in 2 Veil. Okay. Ugh. We'll play first. Got a mulligan. I mean, we can try it. We can dig deep with Ancient Stirrings. We have some Explorers. Just don't want a mulligan too low. Put back Sylvan Scrying, so I'm not tempted. Start Power Plant Star. Pass the turn. They start Crab. We untap. We draw another Power Plant. Sack Star for green. See what we draw. Tower. Interesting. In this case, I'm just going to Ancient Stirrings. Okay, get a star. Rest to the bottom. Play Tower. Play Star. Next turn, we can crack Star and Explore, which gives us a total of 3 draws, if you count the main phase draw step we get. What? Am I, like, rolling over this? Why is it not in place? Okay, opponent mills us. Cracks Polluted Delta and mills us. And they pass. We untap. We draw Karn. Go to our main. Crack Star for green and draw. It's an Explore. Cast Explore. Another star. Play Power Plant. Play Star. Pass the turn. Presumably my opponent is holding up Drown in the Luck. I can't really think of what else they would have that would force them to play this way, unless they just had nothing. But I think they shocked that Watery Grave, which was kind of suspicious. Ah, Field of Ruin. Ruining my plans again, I see. Alright. At least we can cast our Explorers. Alright, bring on the traps. My body is ready. Don't take that out of context. Just realized what I said. Don't take that out of context, please. Alright. Yep. There goes all the Urza's towers. I'm just gonna concede. I don't want to play against Mill anymore. Yep. Yeah, you got me. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and restart the client, actually. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Time for round 3. Well, we have Explore, but no second Tron piece. I'm gonna keep this. So the plan is turn 1 map, turn 2 crack map, turn 3 play Star, crack Star, Explore, and see how close we are to Tron. At least 2/3 of the way. So, start Power Plant map. Pass the turn. Play Power Plant. Grab mine. Play mine. Oh, no, never mind. brain broke. Already played a land this turn. That doesn't work. Opponent plays Bloodstained Mire. So they're probably Rakdos mid-range, considering they didn't reveal Lurrus and they started with Snow Swamp. And they just fetched a basic mountain. Yeah, it's Kroxa. Okay. Discard Chromatic Star. We untap. Hey, it's a tower. Play Mine. Crack Star for green. Draw Ugin. Play Explore. Play Tower. Pass the turn. The good news is I don't think my opponent's deck can beat an Ugin. And they probably only have one Thoughtseize. Probably. How? How is it always Blood Moon? Alright. Play Karn. I could get Grafdigger's Cage. You know what? We're just gonna go for the liquid metal coating. Screw it. Cast your Dreadbore or your Lightning Bolt or whatever it is you kids find plausible to remove Planeswalkers with yet. At least, I will say, at least it's not the Frostbite spell they spoiled for Kaldheim. I don't think that card's modern playable at all. So, they take Wormcoil because they have an answer to Karn. Hey, we draw another Karn. So since they played Thoughtseize and not Inquisition, I'm just going to cast out Liquid Metal Coating and pretend I drew something else uncastable, because this way we can surprise them with the Karn Great Creator next turn. They stomp us. They are one card in the grave away from playing Kroxa. They can't just fetch to do it either. So you need like a land and a 1-mana spell to play Kroxa, and as long as they don't play Kroxa, I think we're fine. Opponent plays a Seasoned Pyromancer, pitching a Magmatic Channeler. And Thoughtseizes again. They always draw the Hand Hate spell that like is actually going to do the difference. Okay, yeah, I'm scooping early, but I'm a little on tilt right now. That's not fair. Okay, claim, wilt in, because Blood Moon. All my opponent's spells are like odd mana cost with the exception of Kroxa, so Void when we're out. Drop Wormcoil, and drop Thragtusk. Okay. Like, I understand why Blood Moon is being main decked. It's not that hard to figure it out. It's this card called Uro and this other card called Omnath, and Field of the Dead and Valakut and all that shit. It just sucks because it's like we're not doing any of that. We're doing a way less powerful thing, and we get hosed just as hard. Alright. Well, I'm not going to turn down double Ancient Stirrings. I am going to put back Explore because I want some redundancy in my threats if my opponent does have an early Thoughtseize and only one Thoughtseize. Play a Forest. Ancient Stirrings. Well, this is extremely unfortunate. I can take Urza's Mine or I can take Urza's Power Plant, but the problem is I'm dumping 2 of each to the bottom, which means the other Ancient Stirrings almost certainly isn't going to find whichever one I don't pick. I'll go with Urza's Mine. Rest to the bottom. Pass the turn. That's a really unfortunate flip, and I don't have a way to shuffle. Okay. Opponent plays a Marsh Flats. We draw Explore. Players is mine. Ancient Stirrings. Chromatic Star. Karn Great Creator. I guess I have to take Great Creator? Star. I'm going to take Star. Pass the turn. Star gets us 1 card deeper towards a theoretical Tron. I can tell you that I'm not playing at my best right now, because I understand throwing against my first round opponent. I'm not actually that upset about it. But, like, the mill thing, again, was like, I'm a little bit on tilt from that. So if I'm making a little bit subpar plays right now, I'm sorry. That's just kind of how life is at the moment. Sack Star for green. Let's draw a card. Okay, play Sphere. Sack Sphere for green. Draw an Expedition map. Play Expedition map. Play Tower. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent untaps. Plays a Snow Swamp. Plays a Seasoned Pyromancer. So in theory, we can assemble Tron. They pitch Inquisition and Marsh Flats. We untap. We draw Ugin. So go get a Power Plant. Play Power Plant. Pass the turn. If they don't have Blood Moon, we're fine. If they do have Blood Moon, or Thoughtseize into Blood Moon, we're not fine. They gotta take Ugin. There's just like no way they take Karn. Yup. Oh, okay. I mean, if I was just gonna get him to Turok and didn't really have a choice, I guess. Alright, we untap. We draw a Sylvan Scrying. Play a tower. Play Karn. And I'm going to uptick on my opponent's hand. Karn should survive whatever attack occurs, and this gives us a little bit more information. Kind of glad I did that. Okay, we want to go get Scavenger Grounds. It's going to be harder for them to make us discard it. Thins our deck a little bit. It will shrink Magmatic Channeler as well. When it discards a mountain, gets a Blood Chief's Thirst. Unbelievable. Oh man, do my decisions even matter anymore? I mean, I'm sure if I look back on this, maybe I'm just being like a complete idiot and just like making the loosest plays that have ever been made. But like at the same time, it really feels like, oh, Kano, like you're being strategic and it's just not working out for you. Like, all right, we're gonna take 4. Maybe not. I don't want to take 7. Blow up the world. And sack Scavenger Grounds on the end of combat because I don't want them playing a land and reanimating Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. No! Stop! Alright. Perfect. Play Karn. Exile Ashiok. Now my opponent will top deck a Bolt. Okay. They didn't. It's a miracle. We draw Explorer. So we go ahead and Explore. Play a land. Uptick on my opponent, because it doesn't matter. Pass the turn. They top deck Dreadbore. Okay. Now that Blood Moon's looking real threatening right now. God, I need like an Ulamog. To even really have a chance, I need an Ulamog. What is happening? On our upkeep, they're making us discard, and they're picking up Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay, so we discard Nature's Claim. We draw a Chromatic Star. Play Star. Sack Star for green. Play Sphere. Sack Sphere for green. Play Eugene. Shoot our opponent. Pass the turn. Watch them play another Dreadbore. It's just what's gonna happen. Like, oh man. So opponent plays Seasoned Pyromancer. They're discarding Magmatic Channeler. They draw 2 cards. They play a Blackcleave Cliffs tapped. We untap. Draw an Urza's Mine. Play the Urza's Mine. Uptick to kill the Pyromancer. Because now, even if they attack him for 1 damage, we can still ult him. Which in theory gives us something. It's probably not even correct to ult him, especially if they play like a big threat here. Knowing my luck, he's just dead. Alright, what do you got? Alright, opponent does take him to 10. Cracks Bloodstained Mire. Now I imagine they're reanimating Kroxa here. Our other Ugin and 2 of our Karns and our O-Stone is in the grave. We untap, we draw a Chromatic Star. Alright, before we make our decision, we're going to play and crack a star. We're minusing. It's the correct thing to do. Play Power Plant, pass the turn. It's like we could ult and just draw like 7 lands. And that would be my, like, it'd be like 7 lands and 2 Chromatic Stars. And then it's like, okay, well then I have 2 redraws to hit something else. But that does answer the Kroxa permanently. And then, of course, now Ugin gets Dreadboard, so at least a lot of their threats are permanently in the exile zone. We still have some haymakers we can draw. Like, it's not hopeless. It's just, if I know my luck, it's not going to happen. Especially today. So, I mean, obviously, top decking an Ulamog would be the best thing here. Top decking a Ancient Stirrings would be good. We already used 2 Ancient Stirrings. Top decking any redraw is fine, and that's most of our deck. And then the rest of our deck is threats. So basically, we're pretty set up for top decking here. Alright, we untap. Draw Expedition map. Play map. Crack map. Get a Sanctum of Ugin. Play Sanctum. So now, basically any of our threats, other than a Wormcoil engine, becomes 2 threats. So I believe we have 15 mana. Opponent makes some tokens. So we pass to our opponent. They have 3 cards in hand. I'm going to be so tilted if our opponent can K-command, like, we finally draw a threat and our opponent, like, K-commands it. Double Pillage? No. Really? Like, oh my god. Well, we have a 3rd Pillage. It's just like the back and forth on this game is ridiculous. I just want it to end. Somebody win, please. Quit giving me these small glimmers of hope just to rip them away. I feel like this league, even if it's not the normal commentary, is going to have a lot of quotable Kano moments. I already could think of one immediately that I begged people to not take out of context, that I'm sure at least one member is going to do here. Opponent picks up Magmatic Channeler, because that's lethal next turn. So we have this draw, and we don't. Alright. So we're 0-3. And I will see you all in round 4. Alrighty, welcome back. I've taken a break between round 3 and round 4, and we get to play first. Okay, well, we have turn 3 Tron, so we're going to keep. We do get a redraw off of Chromatic Star and an Explore at the very least. Just got really lightheaded there for a second. Not sure why. Players is mine, Expedition map. Okay. Opponent is on a Luris start. This could be Jund Luris. They get a Blood Crypt. Inquisition. So they can take Chromatic Star here to kind of like shut off the rest of our hand. But if we draw a threat for turn 3 in the next 2 draws, or if we draw another green source in the next 2 draws, we're like back in the game immediately. Okay. We untap and draw Karn, which is perfect. So go get Tower. Pass the turn. Man, could you imagine if they printed this card with 6 starting loyalty instead of 5? Like, having it be immune to Bolt after a minus? That would be insane. This is, like, there's a ton of developmental knobs that, when I look at cards, and by developmental knob, I mean, like, numbers that could have been adjusted, like, late in the design of the card. That I look at cards that are busted, and it's like, wow, that would, like, if they thought this was okay, they could have very reasonably gone even slightly further, and had they had, like, it would just be crazy. So my opponent draws a bunch of cards. We draw Scavenger Grounds. Players is Tower, and I'm gonna go for Sundering Titan here, because we do have a land that we can play Sundering Titan immediately after. Trinisphere is nice, but it could slow us down critically in this point. Alright, opponent can't beat a Sundering Titan. They basically needed Thoughtseize. So versus Rakdos, Death Shadow, I do want Thragtusk. Dismember doesn't really do anything. My opponent plays almost exclusively odd mana cost stuff, but I feel like I've been taking out Void Winnower like every game, and at this point we're kind of just like, we don't have a real chance of making prize, so I kind of just want to meme with Void Winnower, so this is not the optimum sideboard for this game. Please understand that that is what is happening now. Alright, yeah, Natural Tron into Ulamog. Even with Explore to accelerate, what could go wrong? Okay, opponent starts Bloodstained Mire, double Bauble. Does not want to draw whatever was on top of their deck. They fetch up a Blood Crypt. We draw Explore again. Play Power Plant. play Chromatic Star, pass the turn. I'm only playing Power Plant here because if my opponent does Cleansing Wildfire, we're holding another Power Plant. We get bolted. Opponent untaps. That bolt does allow them to play Scourge of the Skyclaves. They play Verdant Catacombs. Pass. We untap and draw Sanctum of Ugin. So, crack Star for green. We draw another Explore. Players is mine. Cast Explore. Players is Tower. Pass the turn. If we top deck a Tower, this is a turn 3 Ulamog, which is something I have never done. That would be like the absolute crazy nuts hand. The hand that you never hear about. The one that's only rumored as theoretically possible. It's like when those, like, Oops All Spells decks and stuff like that, like, open up with 3 Simian Spirit Guides into their combo, and it just feels, like, so unfair. I mean, we get completely wrecked by a Thoughtseize, so... Alright, opponent plays a Bombat Courier. Exiles a card from the top of their deck. We untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. So the question is now, what is the best way to go? Alright, so we can either play Blast Zone, or we can play Power Plant. I think the play is to play Blast Zone, because if my opponent does have, like, Monastery Swift Spears, and they end up presenting lethal somehow, we need to be able to react. Next turn, we can play Power Plant, and hopefully that's enough. Okay. Opponent attacks for 5. I guess if they had Battle Rage there, it would have turned out pretty bad for us, but they did not. Opponent shocks a Blood Crypt, plays a Death Shadow, and passes. We untap, draw an Ancient Stirrings, play Power Plant, play Ulamog, exiling the creatures that are actually a threat. Opponent sacks Bombat Courier, discarding Scourge of the Skyclaves and a Fatal Push to draw 2 new cards. Wow. Angrass Rampage making us sack Ulamog. Can't say I've had that happen before. We have so many good top decks, it's not even funny. Alright, opponent plays Kroxa. Forces us to discard, so we discard a Sylvan Scrying. Any green source, any redraw, or any threat is good here. That's technically a green source. Play Expedition Map. Crack Map for a forest. Play a forest. Ancient Stirrings. I could have gotten Scavenger Grounds, but in theory I was going to hit something here. We have so many threats left in the deck. This is ridiculous. Alright, I was on tilt. I am officially on tilt now. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent gets a Kroxa, which is a problem. They play Bauble. And Bombat Courier. Alright, they don't play Kroxa, so I guess there's that. I mean, if this is what they're going for, I have to give up on map to crack Blast Zone. They can have this draw, I don't care. We'll get Scavenger Grounds, and if we draw nothing, we'll play Scavenger Grounds. I could get another Forest in order to cast 2 Explorers next turn, but... Opponent puts Lurrus in their hand. Crack map, get Scavenger Grounds. Untap. What do we draw? Something? Anything? Please? Karn, Liberated. Thank you. Okay, so now the question is, what do we play? Probably going to Karn, and then activate Scavenger Grounds. Karn uptick to take care of Lurrus, so we don't have to deal with that. This will allow my opponent to draw 2 cards, but... off of Bombat Courier, but I'm not that worried. They don't have a lot of haste stuff that would actually be a threat to us at this point. And I could have played Sanctum of Ugin first to tutor up some other kind of big threat, but it's not necessary. Just getting rid of the graveyard here is going to be good enough. Because we don't have to worry about Kroxa. So opponent gets to draw 2 cards. They'll be able to draw 2 cards off Bombat Courier. But they have to play a lot of threats that don't die to Blast Zone immediately. So they need like their 2-mana Scourge of the Skyclaves and stuff. Okay, opponent attacks us for 1. We untap. We draw a Karn Great Creator. Take out Scourge. Play Karn. Opponent cracks Courier. We wish for Sundering Titan. play Sanctum. And here's where I would tutor for Ulamog, but I do not have an Ulamog, so I'm going to tutor for a Void Winnower. So, something I want to notice, or I want to mention across this entire league here, and it's not really come up, but I've been keeping mental track of this. Void Winnower has not been very good versus the majority of decks we've played against. I understand it's shutting down even mana cost stuff, but like, versus Death Shadow, their best spells are odd mana cost. Except for like Mishra's Bauble and whatnot, but this is going to come down way too late for that. I'm glad we finally beat someone. That was cathartic, especially it being Death Shadow. So I'll see you guys in round 5. Hopefully we can get 50 play points back. Alrighty, round 5, here we go. Alright, we'll play first. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand doesn't do anything. This hand does. Alright, so we're gonna put back, probably Ancient Stirrings. Start Urza's Mine, Expedition Map, pass the turn. When it starts Verdant Catacombs, oh, is this just Jund Death Shadow again? Or Rakdos Death Shadow again? Jund Death Shadow this time. Alright, there goes our only threat. Disappointing. The good news is we're Tron, and we're prone to top deck our threats. Except today, where I've been, like, only top decking lands. Which is one strike against the, like, 20-land heavy version. I'm noticing we're not able to cast Explore as often as I'd like. Which is quite frustrating. Opponent took our other Expedition Map. This means that they have an Assassin's Trophy. Oh, did they just, like, have a stroke and forget about what our... like, what our game plan was and what we were gonna do? They just took Expedition Map and forgot we had one on board? Don't worry, opponent. I am in the 1 in 4 bracket as well. I have been making mistakes like that a lot recently. So in this case, I guess what we're gonna do is bring in Thragtusk over a Wormcoil. Try it like this. Okay. Well, this hand is Thoughtseize resistant, so I'm going to keep it. It's not terribly fast, but it has the potential to be kind of quick, depending on our top decks, and we have double Ancient Stirrings, so... Opponent did mulligan to 6, which means they were probably looking for hand hate. They may find themselves disappointed, unless they have, like, 3 Inquisitions. I've found that keeping hands like this versus Death Shadow actually tends to work more often than mulliganing looking for the fast hand. At least, that's my perception of it. I don't have any hard data. Alright, they play Bauble. Alright, opponent gets to draw. We draw Forest. Play a Forest. We're going to go with Ancient Stirrings. We're going to have to cast Explore basically no matter what. We get a Power Plant. Okay, so next turn we can play 2 Tron lands. If my opponent has another Inquisition, we play 1 Tron land. Opponent draws for turn. They play Bauble. Nurturing Peatland. And they cannot play Scourge of the Skyclaves because we have not lost any life yet. So we explore, we find Void Winnower, play Power Plant, play Star. Pass the turn. They could also have an Assassin's Trophy to try and keep us off of Tron. That would be a reasonable thing for our opponent to have. Jund Death Shadow does tend to play that. I haven't seen them play Surgical Extraction, but due to the life loss Phyrexian mana theme, I wouldn't be surprised to see an opponent do that, especially in a Jund list. Okay, they play a Tarmogoyf. We draw Karn Great Creator, which we can play this turn. Actually, we could play out Karn, animate Star, and block, then wish for, like, Liquimetal Coating or something? Or a Walking Ballista, maybe? I think it's better to crack Star now. Well, maybe not. Let's do this. A little bit of a weird line here. If this was Sphere, I wouldn't do this. But because it's Star, Star has the added benefit of any time it goes to the grave for any reason, not just when you activate it, it will draw a card. So here we can kind of fog this Tarmogoyf unless my opponent left in their Fatal Pushes or wants to waste a Bolt on the Star. Which I would be okay with, because it's just one more burn spell that wouldn't be going face. And regardless, unless my opponent plays a haste creature, we're not going to take any damage. We're going to have a tougher time killing Karn Great Creator, because it's not like they have Bloodlord's Thirst, or whatever it's called. The 1-mana sorcery Fatal Push that can be kicked to hit Planeswalkers. Plus, if they attack, we get a draw, and We'll have a total of 2 draws looking for tower, and if we hit tower, we're good to go. Alright, opponent does attack. They're attacking us, so I will block with the star. We draw and explore. Nothing. We untap. We draw on Urza's Mine. Let's start by playing explore here. Okay, another star. Play Urza's Mine. Play Chromatic Star. Same plan all over again. We're kind of just trying to keep Karn out of one-shot range from the Goyf. If I can get, well, if I can get a tower, I can do a whole bunch of nasty things, but I'm 1 mana away from wishing for a Worm Coil, which would be pretty sweet. Provided I remember to take one out, yeah. Opponent cannot activate Bauble. Oh yeah, Karn's got relevant text here. Chump. I suspect they have a lot of Scourge of the Skyclave in their hand right now. Ooh, Expedition Map is great. Alright, we untap. We draw Chromatic Sphere. Play map. So if my opponent has an Assassin's Trophy, they could hit Power Plant to keep us off of Tron. Crack map. Now would be their last opportunity. Otherwise we're going to play Karn Liberated. Opponent does have it. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do this earlier, because I feel like they had better opportunities to use an Assassin's Trophy. I am going to get tower, play the tower. So we could play up to something that costs 4 this turn. So I could play like a Walking Ballista. I could also play Sphere and wish for Ensnaring Bridge. So I'm going to do that. Just need to remember not to crack Sphere here. So get Ensnaring Bridge. Now my opponent has to have an answer for Ensnaring Bridge to attack, which means Karn is pretty well protected. Pass the turn. I guess if they have another Assassin's Trophy, this could turn out bad, but if they Assassin's Trophy anything but a land, we're playing Karn Liberated. Swift Spear, which can attack. Opponent hits us for 1. They're not worried about Karn at all. Okay. We untap. We draw Karn, Great Creator. Let's wish for Liquid Metal Coating. Play Coating. We're going to shut off the red mana. And we're doing this before, because if my opponent somehow had an instant speed answer to Karn, you know, we have priority to activate the ability prior to... Okay, keep the new one. Blow up the land. Pass the turn. Attacks us for 1. Okay. We untap. We draw Worm Coil. And opponent scoops it up. Alright, so we kind of recovered there at the end. I took a break so I wouldn't be on tilt for the last 2 matches. And I feel like I played relatively okay. I definitely threw round 1, which probably is what threw off this entire league. Because we're slightly more teched for the meta, and losing, we immediately ran into mill. I hope that... I'm sorry that I really didn't get to play Void Winnower, but there were several times where we were looking for the opportunity to play a big Eldrazi, and Ulamog was better just every single time. And it's possible that Void Winnower is better versus the top decks of the metagame right now. Maybe they run more even mana cost cards, but all the decks we were running into were running heavy odd mana costs, because they're all playing 1-drops, and they're all playing 3-drops, because playing a 1-drop on turn 1, 2 1-drops on turn 2, and then a 3-drop on turn 3 is sometimes more efficient than going 1, 2, and then 3. Even though it uses more cards faster, it tends to be more powerful in the early game. So I don't think I'm going to keep Void Winnower in the deck, but I did try it out. I'm going to put Ulamog back, just so I don't forget later. Dismember... I'd rather have Dismember than Spatial Contortion right now because of the prevalence of Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon effect. We don't have a basic Wastes in the deck, and I don't really want one right now. I kind of want to drop Scavenger Grounds to have a 6th Forest back in the deck so that we can cast Explore slightly more easily than we've been able to. But Scavenger Grounds has actually done quite a bit of work. We can exile things like Kroxa out of the grave, and then our opponent can't replay it. I'm glad I was able to fit O-Stone back in the deck, though I'm kind of sad because I have... one of the reasons that you play Explore is so you can play more lands and things are okay if you don't play Tron. But I've had to cut almost all my Thragtusks to get that to work. And it feels like I have slightly not enough slots to get this to work. Like if Magic dictated you played a 65 card deck instead, so I could load up on like 4 mana threats, that would also be good. But I don't know. I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to probably play with the sideboard a little bit more. But I'm going to keep running this list of Tron and trying to get some more reps to see if I played so much of the regular version of Tron. I would like to keep getting reps in with this deck to really understand the strengths and weaknesses, and whether or not Explore is actually viable as a main deck option. Top decking lands was something we ran into a lot this league. So if you're top decking lands and you can't cast Explore because you have, I don't know, these 7 lands on the board, it's kind of bad, but that shouldn't happen, it doesn't feel like. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And, yeah, I hope I see you guys next time. Bye, you're all wonderful human beings.